G'day and kia ora, this is the Anzac gamer, also known as Angel885, and yes, this video is a bit late. Things have happened in the week, I haven't been feeling well, I had a visitor on the Wednesday, where I usually will do a recording on a Wednesday afternoon to get these things ready, but I wasn't feeling well anyway, so it's not so much of a, not really that big a deal. But to make up for that, I have got a second video coming. It's my first of what might end up being mini videos, but it's sort of a reply video, or a respondent video, or a correction video to another YouTuber by the name of Random Gaming, who did a special video celebrating his 10,000 sub point, which is fantastic. But the video he did, I think, was a bit of a misrepresentation of things. So, gonna do that. But keep an eye out for that. That'll be coming out soon. So yeah, let's get straight into it. As the title says, this is a VR video. You may be thinking, oh, you're doing the video because of the PlayStation VR came out on Thursday. Not really. This video was actually slated for this week, and it just so happens that was just a happy circumstance that it happened this way, that the PlayStation VR came out in the same week that I planned to do this video. It kind of... I didn't plan it that way. I didn't even know when the PlayStation VR was actually going to be released until I actually checked it in doing the research for this video. So I honestly thought it was the 27th of October. I didn't think it was going to be the 13th. But hey, it's here. It's reviewing well. And that's fantastic. It's a great push forward on VR. But let's get straight into the reason that I was originally doing this, which is to do with the fact that the Rift and the Steam VR, or the HTC Vive, sales have pretty much fallen off a cliff, as Ashley Jenkins from The Know put it. There are a number of reasons why that's happened. I think part of it is to do with people that had PlayStation 4s were kind of waiting for the PlayStation VR. The price of entry for the headset is perceived to be expensive because you need a high-end PC to really run it. I actually found that it's actually come down to, especially at the moment, like Rift, Oculus have come out with lowering the specs on the Rift. Now a $500 US dollar PC will actually run the Rift with some software trickery that the Oculus have actually put in there to bump up the frame rate, so you don't get the VR sickness. The Vive has always had actually a lowish performance requirement for a PC. It hasn't actually needed much, but I'll get to that later. So the price of entry, the perceived price of entry, people are probably thinking they needed $1,000 US or a $1,500 Australian PC to really drive these two headsets. Coupled onto the fact that these headsets cost near enough $1,000 Australian each, on top of, it's kind of not conducive to sales. It's a very expensive thing. So what's happened is that the whole reason that the sales were like this and then gone straight down is basically because, well, early adopters. The early adoption sales have actually reached their saturation point, obviously. We've saturated the early adopter market. So now there's nowhere to go for these guys. The only way that they're going to pick sales up is bringing out the second generation of their product, and hopefully at a much cheaper price. Or hope that people will upgrade their PCs and have actually got money put away to purchase these headsets or the stuff to go. So that's the only thing that's going to really pick up sales, or one of only the really reason to pick up sales. The other reason that sales on the VR headsets have plummeted come to a complete, basically like a car hitting a tree. It's a sudden stop. Is software availability. there's there is a lot of software available for the VR stuff. Some of it, what's really surprising is a lot of people go, "Oh, there's no AAA stuff." It's like, yes and no. There are titles out there that are VR compatible that people don't know about being VR compatible that would look really, really good in VR. Obviously, your simulator games, Elite Dangerous for one. Star Citizen's going to actually have VR support in it. Your driving games, so Euro Truck and Project Cars and your Assetto Corsa and can't think of any others at this stage. Those games are going to look really cool in VR. They're going to look really, really good. Especially Elite Dangerous. I mean, like, I would love to have my kind of thrift version really working properly to really get that immersion factor out of Elite Dangerous to be in combat and just go, whoa, what? Anyway, so there are all the actual VR titles are pretty much have been said to be just glorified tech demos. They're more of an experience in an actual game. They're not really, kind of showing off what could be, not what actually currently is. But that, we've just got to give the developers time. We've got to give the developers time. They're like, yeah, okay, you had NVIDIA drop $2 billion in the research and development of Pascal. You've got AMD spending millions with their new Polaris 11s and the Vega chips. Or Polaris 11 or whatever. You've got Sony that dropped millions of dollars in on the PlayStation, on the project on the Morpheus and the Neo, which is now known as the PlayStation VR and the PlayStation Pro, getting that sorted and working closely with Oculus on making sure that things were as they should be and how they could get things going at a rather cheap entry. So it's basically where they could kind of get away with things where they may need to actually, we can't get away with not doing that, we have to do that. Anyway, so, we've got to wait for the developers to kind of catch up. I mean, there's games like Subnautica, which is due out for version 1 release by December. Apparently, friends that have played that game go, it's fantastic, it looks so good in VR, and I go, I really wish I could actually get my hands on an actual VR headset to give that one a go, because I actually enjoy Subnautica myself. Another game that recently came out as first-person shooter called Onward. Devil Gaming? Red Devil? Daredevil? Can't remember. Devil, there's... he showed off his HTC Vive, and he was playing Onward. It looks fantastic. It looks amazing. Just the room scale and everything in it going on. It was fantastic. It looked really immersive. It looks like a fantastic first-person shooter VR game. It looked amazing. So we've got that. Then you've got some AAA titles coming. You've got Fallout VR, Doom VR. So Doom VR. We then also, as I mentioned in my Star Trek Bridge Commander video, Star Trek Bridge Crew is a AAA title coming out at the end of November that is a full-on AAA. That's supposed to be a full-on game. It's gonna, and it's coming out for the PlayStation VR. It's coming out for the Vive, and it's coming out for the Rift. It's coming out for the 3 major dudes on this thing. So that's fantastic. So with that, we should see a pickup in VR sales there, hopefully, God willing. So, that's what will help these sales that have basically died. Another thing that will actually help, obviously, was going to be what I had actually written down here, was the release of PlayStation VR when it happened. Well, now it's happened, and it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. The thing that I take issue with is Sony having exclusives. It's not good. Not good for something that's this technology's in its infancy, and you're basically hamstringing it, and that's not good. It's not good at all. There shouldn't be. If they really want the VR industry to thrive, they need to stop, just not have exclusives. I can understand if they would, we developed it for the PlayStation VR, we are bringing it across to the PC. It's just going to take us a little longer to get there because of whatever reasons. So we've got that to come. So we need, exclusives need to not happen. That will help VR a lot. No exclusives. It's on all things. I mean, Valve have it. Valve are brilliant for this. They've just said, look, we'll give developers money to aid in the development of VR titles. We don't ask for anything in return. Just make it available for VR. End of story. Just do it. So there's that. There's another thing that's obviously going to help, and that is the increase in competition. So more headsets, more things to come. So there was I saw a video by Blunty, and he was at E3, and he had a pair of VR thing on, the pair of VR headset on, and they looked like just normal glasses for starters. So they had the little things that go over here and just sit there. It had some head tracking in there. It was fairly. If you've ever seen Star Trek Next Generation, Geordie LaForge's visor, so it was a little bit thicker than that, and more of that stuff will really help. It'll drive the VR industry forward because there'll be more headsets available, people in varying ranges of quality and price. Quality and prices, and become available for everybody. So everybody will have different VR headsets, as long as we have an open platform, so that the technology and everything behind it is open, and people can access the different software development tools for their stuff. As I mentioned, the second generation of stuff needs to come. Oculus are working on something called Santa Cruz or San Francisco. I can't remember which one it was. But it's currently in prototyping. It's also just a proof of concept, really, but it's a full wireless thing. Think HoloLens coupled with Gear VR, so the Samsung Gear VR. So it's fully wireless. Everything's all self-contained unit, and it's just a mini computer on the back, and it's full wireless, and it has inside-out tracking, so it actually has cameras on the thing, and it tracks where everything is around the room. So that's pretty cool. Where are we going? So I won't bother with that part. So another thing that I think really should be looked into being done by Oculus, Oculus are already doing it. I mean, they've got they've been working with Samsung in the Gear VR, but I think Valve need to do it as well. Got this little thing here. It's a ShineCon VR. It's designed to take phones, obviously. I have my iPhone 6 Plus, 5.5 inch screen. In here, somewhere around about 100 degrees field of view. Not perfect, but it kind of helps. It gives me a taste of VR. It cost me about $40. It gives me a taste of VR and things like that. I don't know why they haven't done it. It's not like phones aren't a thing. So let's say hypothetically, Valve go to HTC and they go, right, we want to make a headset as cheap as possible, and we think the best way we can do that is by basically taking the Vive that we've got and taking out the display. Okay? And then we're going to make the actual headset accommodate 5.5 at a minimum for a phone, up to, say, a 6-inch for a phone. And we'll make a app available for the phone and a thing on the computer that mimics or interprets Steam VR and then outputs the display to the phone. They can still buy the watchtowers, they can still buy the touch controls. In fact, we will do the whole bundle. The only thing that will be missing out of the headset, and this is where we'll say you will need X, Y, or Z phone, and you will need to put that in there, and then there's a cable thing on there, and it cables all in, and then you've got the HTC Vive. By the way, it's about $300. It's $300, and you get the controllers, you get the headset. All you've got to do is supply the phone. That's it. I mean, at release, the 6 Plus, the iPhone 6 Plus was about $1,200. It has an okay display on it. It's a 1080 display. It's the same display resolution as the PlayStation VR. You know, then you have the S6 and S7s and the edges, and they're 5.5, 5.7 inch. You know, the Notes, the Galaxy, or not the Note 7, obviously, because they go explodey. But you know, if they say X phone and YZ phone, you know, these phones are the ones that we recommend. We've actually got the calibration in our software for it, and they calibrate out, so it's just a matter of drop down menu. This is my phone. It goes, yep, cool. I know how to position that on the screen, data on the screen for the lenses. Bob's your uncle. You're done. You have the full experience. Obviously, the screen display is not that crash hot, but they can still provide the ultimate edition of the Vive. They could call it the Vive Pro, and that has the high resolution, two different, you know, the high resolution displays, and everything's perfectly out. But there's nothing. I just don't understand. Like, I can do that now with the phone and the, you know, I can do that now with my iPhone and the ShineCon VR, and I can output my PC's video to the phone using Kino Console VR. It's not perfect, but it works. It, you know, works okay. Android have a similar app with the Trinus VR. I'd really like to actually get my hands on a Gear VR and a Samsung S7 Edge and try it out with the Trinus VR and hooking all that through my PC and seeing how things work there with a device that is specifically designed for those specific phones. So to see how good that is. There is that there, I think, would be the way to do it. It would actually be the way to do it, I think. Personally, I think that's how they should be looking at doing it for an entry-level position. If you want the high-end, then you go high-end, and we've got 4K each eye. But if not, here's your alternatives. Here, for those of you that really want to try this stuff out, it's going to cost you $200, $300, and all you do is put your phone in. You know, so that's what I have to say about VR. I think VR is fantastic. It has got a lot of potential in it. And I am really excited to see where it goes. I really, really want one myself. I really want a HTC Vive. My system could run it now. And I mean, my system's 5 years old. It's running it. I mean, I've got the system specs on my page, on the YouTube, in the about page of my YouTube channel, and I get green ticks across the board with the Steam VR compatibility guide. The only thing that gives it a bit of a trouble is the fact that I'm running an R9 280. If I was running something a little bit stronger, like a 970 or 980, I'd be green ticked. 1060, 1070. If I was running a stronger GPU, I'd be VR golden on a 5-year-old processor. That just tells you that this whole perception of you need brand new high-end to work is actually not the case. Apparently, I'm very proud of my little i5 2500K Sandy Bridge. That's an absolute bloody champ. You know? So, yeah. I've been the Anzac Gamer, also known as Angel885. If you like this video, go buy that like button a beer. If you did not, give that dislike button a smack. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you, Anzacs, in the next video.